Hey guys, welcome back. I'm going to show you how to do a secret loot room stash today. It's something that's been incorporated into a number of the bases I've posted over the last few months. And what's really strong about this is it's not the it's not one of those things where how many XYZ doors to the loot, there's it's 8 garage doors to main loot, or it's so and so rockets to the core of your main loot. This is impervious to that. This trick I'm about to show you doesn't care about how many rockets the enemy has or how many doors to your main loot. The real trick here is deception and misdirection. We have these two loot rooms here side by side. They're just standard loot rooms. Oh, we have a shelf here, we have a half wall shelf here, and there's boxes. They're just absolutely ordinary loot rooms. There's a drop box here for a little bit of extra storage. But what makes these two loot rooms, especially the one on the left, really, really strong is they're just decoys. I mean, you can put like your diving suits and stuff in here and your stone pickaxes, but what makes it really strong is, watch as I clip through the wall, there's this secret honeycomb stash back here. On the outside it just looks like the honeycomb of a 2x2 or the honeycomb of a base, but it's not honeycomb, it's actually a secret room to store all of your good stuff. And there's a sleeping bag in here, which is what you use to spawn in here. This large box here, this is actually, see how it's clipped through the wall? It's clipped through because it's a transfer box. You use it to transfer your loot back and forth from the this side of the base into your secret stash. And you pick up this box, jump up here. You can see even from here you can't even see it. You can't even see the transfer box. So if an enemy raids you, they're going to blow the doors here to get in, and they're going to take your diving equipment and your stone pickaxe, and they're going to leave with their tail between their legs. But if you jump up here, you can see that the transfer box is right there. So it's clipped into the wall, and just think about it with me for a second. Most people, whenever they use suicide bunkers like this, they use drop boxes, or they use the roof bunkers, or collapsible bunkers one way or another. All that stuff is fine, but you can do it in an even simpler way that doesn't require you to like destroy part of your base every time you want to go in and out of it and such. And like if you use drop boxes to a panel of drop boxes on the wall, then the enemy knows that your loot is on the other side of the wall. So yeah, you can armor it up, but what's your dependency then? It's whether the enemy has 15 rockets. What if they don't know that there's anything back there though? How strong is that? Well, I'm going to tell you the answer. It's really, really strong. Me and my brother have used this strategy for years now. We're using it in this wipe also, and we've been raided 3 times this wipe, and they've failed all 3 times. Each time they raided us, a different group each time, they've got 3 to 5% of our loot, which we're totally fine with. And then they leave and they're like, oh, we raided those bastards, though we showed them, and they didn't get anything. Like, they got our frog boots and our diving equipment and stuff, and I'm okay with that. And it's because they didn't even know that the loot was hidden anywhere. They didn't even know that it existed. So today I'm going to show you how to build it. It's really, really easy. There was a way to do it a few months ago, but Facepunch actually nerfed it. They changed it to where it doesn't work anymore, but I figured out a different way to do it literally the day they removed it, and this is how you do it. So first you need to, and by the way, from an operational standpoint and tactical standpoint, whenever you're building a base to do this, just get some kind of like 1x1 down and go and farm up 10k wood, store it in there, and then lay the foundation of what I'm about to show you, twig it up, then upgrade it to wood as soon as you can. But just make sure you have like 10k wood to establish the perimeter of the base itself. So if you don't want to be in the middle of building this, and then some friendly vagrants come by and they're like, hey, what you doing? And you're like, well, I'm glitching the box into the wall so that you won't, whenever you raid me later, you see what I'm saying? You don't want anybody to see you building this. And so farm up the wood before you do this. So you want to have the square loot room down, and then you want to put your honeycomb down. And I'm going to show you how to do this, but it has to be done in this order. If you don't do it in this order, if you add any extra walls, if you change this in any way, there's a phenomenal chance that it's not going to work. because this is exploiting the way the snapping system works in Rust, the way the roof collapsing works. It's the way the walls join together, and the dependencies of the roof collapse system, which it doesn't want it doesn't want any corners to be connected. So do it just like this. Come over here, build a wall right there. You want to build a half wall here and put a triangle on top of it. Then remove this, and then put a wall here. And this is the loot room. This is the loot room that you can see right here. Now you want to make sure you have your boxes already crafted, because remember, you need to do this fast. You need to do it do it at night if you can with a candle hat on or something, but you need to get this done quick so nobody knows that it exists. And now you need to collapse this wall, and you can collapse it by building a roof right there. Make sure that it's twigged on, and also make sure that you have a TC down whenever you start doing this. Whenever you start building this base to have this little exploit in it, put a TC down, because if the TC is down, you can demolish things as you're going. And you need to be able to demolish this very quickly if you're going. If you don't have a TC down, you're not going to be able to demolish it, then you have to pick it out. So you can see that the wall has been collapsed. You see how it's collapsed because the roof bunker is there? Now you jump up here, and you can do this with a large box or a small box. This small box is easier to conceal, but it's also only 12 slots of storage instead of 30. So if you have a large box, you want to put it to where it's... you see the left side of the large box there, and how it's, right now it's the front left corner is right at the triangle's edge. You want to go a little bit past that, so put it like right there. And go in a build server and practice this before you do it on a live server. Set your box down, go back over here, and now destroy the roof thing. And like I said, you're going to want to practice this because, as you can see, sometimes you think you got it and it doesn't. The vantage point whenever you're up there is kind of odd sometimes. So if you don't get it right, that's fine. Put the roof back on, collapse it, pick the box up. See, you can see it was overhanging by quite a bit whenever I placed it, but then in actuality, after I placed it, it wasn't hanging off at all. It's something weird with like the vantage point you're looking at in the Unity system. So try again. If you mess it up, it's fine, because you can pick up boxes. And eventually you're going to get it to where the box is poking through the wall. And you want to get it to where there's the least amount of box poking through as possible. But you get the idea. This is how it's done. You can do it with a small box also. Then your loot room's ready to go. Boom, boom, boom. And then you would come over here and seal it just like this. Make sure you get your bag down before you seal it, because that would be aggravating as hell, having a secret loot room that you can't get into. And then from here you can add add boxes, decorate this, put storage in it. Get cute with it if you want to, with like 50 storage things, and however you want to do it. But once it's sealed, you're good to go. Now what you need to do is camouflage it. How can we make it so that the enemy would never see this or never care to even look for it? There's lots of different ways to do it. You can do it like this. Put a half wall there. And then put the boxes up here. You can do it like that. See, the enemy can't see it. They don't even know that it exists. You have to be careful with doing it this way. If the enemy is going to be rocketing in, or making a big commotion, you want to make it so that the enemy is unlikely to destroy this transfer box. So just think about the way you're designing your base. Would the enemy have any reason to like shoot rockets in here? A good example is, don't put shotgun traps in here. If you put shotgun traps in this loot room, they're gonna blow it up. So don't do that. Just think about if you were raiding this and you opened it up and you saw a bunch of scuba equipment and some stone pickaxes, what would you do? You'll just get mad and leave. Another way to do it, if you wanted to do it with a shelf, people really like to talk some shit about the salvage shelf. Man, the RP inside of me, I love those things. Put you a shelf down, and now you can set your boxes down. I had a drop box on the other one, the initial one at the start of this video. It's really good at hiding stuff like this. So you can put a drop box down. It helps hide it. Another box here. Line of sight error, thank you, face punch. Most annoying change in the game ever. So you just want to cover up the fact that the transfer box exists. And again, you see how this large box is clipping through more than I would like. Make sure that you go on and on a build server and practice this so that it's more like this one. You see how little it's poking through. You can get it like that consistently. It just takes practice. So go in and on a build server, make sure you're doing so whenever you come to the live server, you're not, trying to get this done while there's, naked screaming around you and watching. But that's all there is to it. There's another way to do it with a triangle staircase, and that's what was shown in a couple of my previous videos, but this way is way easier. The triangle staircase thing, it can get really annoying. I mean, it still works, but this way is just a whole lot simpler. One thing I would recommend is upgrading these back two walls to sheet metal. And the reason for that is, first off, it's not going to clue off the enemy at all. If they see that the back wall is sheet metal, they're not going to be like, how come those walls are sheet metal, but no, they're not going to think that. But what it does is it prevents them from getting curious. Now, most raiders aren't going to get curious. They're not going to be like, you know what, it's time to start picking these walls down because what's back there? That's generally not a thing. But if they do get curious, just for the sake of it, if the wall's metal, they're far less likely to try that. So I would recommend upgrading these back walls to sheet metal. And you can actually, depending on the layout of the base, you can actually do this on multiple sides. I've did this before. So, let's say that your base is like this, and then you wanted to have another loot room right here. You can actually build the same thing here. So then you have the honeycomb on two different sides of the base have this same trick in them. Now you have multiple suicide bunkers, which means that it's more impervious to rocket splash damage, etc. I've actually did it where all three sides of a 2x2 were suicide bunkers, and that's the beauty of this, is that it's loot separation. The enemy doesn't know it exists unless they're cheating with ESP, but that's a whole different. You've got bigger problems if the enemy's using ESP anyway. But I hope y'all found this video helpful. It uses misdirection, which that I'm extremely using misdirection is going to be more powerful than the best base design you can think of that has so many armored walls and this and that and this and that, because with misdirection the enemy doesn't even know that the loot exists. And whenever they don't know what they don't know, and they don't even know what they're missing, that's true power. So I hope y'all found this video helpful, and thanks for watching.